We then have Gurmani School of Humanities and Social Sciences, where our students who are doing accounting and finance can take courses in language, in philosophy, in literature, in history. So one of the reasons that all these years, McKinsey's and the Bains and the PwC's international offices have been coming over and recruiting the business school graduates is not just because they are good in accounting and finance and management education. It's also because they know a few things more in terms of philosophy or history or language. So I would strongly urge the students who have opted for accounting and finance and management science, the business school students, to take benefit from the variety of disciplines and courses that are on offer. In the end, I would say there is a very strong association between prestige, getting admitted, enrolled, and graduating from prestigious educational institutions and status conferral or material success. So there's every chance in the world that you guys will do well, inshallah. And you guys would work for corporations or develop your own organizations, will generate a lot of wealth for yourself and for others. But one advice, unsolicited, I always give is make sure that when you're generating a lot of wealth, you care about the distribution of wealth, which is as important as the generation of wealth. Thank you very much. Once again, congratulations and welcome to LUMS, and I wish you guys a very happy and successful and enjoyable 4 years of learning at SDSP and LUMS. Thank you.
So just to follow up on what Dr. Junaid told you, I just want to leave you with 10 reasons why you should be in the School of Humanities and Social Sciences. The first is the top humanities and social sciences school in Pakistan and one of the leading clusters of scholars who do research on Pakistan anywhere in the world. So if you have any interest in getting an education that is strongly rooted in the realities of Pakistan, but is cutting edge and universal in scope, there is no better place for you wherever you look around the world. Second, we have some of the best faculty you can get anywhere. People teaching you here have PhDs from leading universities like Harvard, Yale, Columbia, Chicago, Cambridge, Oxford, you name it. Many of them were teaching in these excellent universities before they came to us. Just in the last year, we hired 15 more faculty members in the school from, once again, the leading universities of the world. They come here despite what is going on in Pakistan because they want to be part of this great group and work with you, some of the most brilliant and promising students that Pakistan has to offer. Third, we are a magnet for leading scholars in the world. Last year alone, we hosted a number of scholars from, again, the top universities in the world. They all gave talks and workshops to our faculty, to our students. We hosted, amongst them was the president of the London School of Economics, the Secretary General of the World Trade Organization, members of the House of Lords, of the US Senate, and many others. Fourth, apart from the usual array of courses that you will be taking, be they in history, literature, economics, political science, anthropology, sociology, philosophy, we also have some of the most exciting interdisciplinary courses that you will find, again, anywhere in the world. This year, for example, this semester, we are introducing a new course called In Our Times, which is offered by 3 different faculty members together. And the course essentially challenges you to define your identity. The moment you step into the class, they will be asking you, who are you? Are you a Muslim? Are you a Pakistani? Are you a woman? Are you a son? Where do these identities come from? What role are you expected to play in society? Some of the larger questions that often get neglected in technical education. Similarly, last semester, we offered another course called The Idea of Justice. The course was taught by 12 different faculty members from completely different areas, ranging from literature to economics to philosophy to business to law. And it was coordinated and led by an ex-Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, who connected all these abstract academic discussions back to Pakistan's judicial reality. So the economics faculty member told you about the economics of justice. The history person told you about the whole idea, how the whole idea of justice has evolved historically. The anthropologist told you about how justice is enacted differently in different societies and cultures of the world. Similarly, we offered a course this summer on Himalayas, the ecology and environment, which was conducted entirely in the mountains. The students were based there for a month, where they witnessed actual migrations from bottom to top and top to bottom, and studied the ecology and history and society of the north of Pakistan. We also introduced field-based courses on the history of Lahore. We have grown up, many of us have grown up in the city, but we do not really know why there are these buildings, who built them, why, who lived here before we did. And these were field-based courses where students were taken into the old city, the walled city, other parts of the older parts of Lahore, and told them. And this was led by Professor Majid Sheikh, who probably knows more about the history of Lahore than anyone else alive. We also offer courses in various Pakistani languages. I mean, we also have courses in German and French and so on, but the oversubscribed ones, the oversubscribed courses are the ones in Urdu, Punjabi and Persian poetry and prose. The courses in Pashto, Sindhi, Punjabi and Urdu. So we'd very much like you to come and benefit from that. And fifth is a related point, that we impart a solid education to our students that brings together this knowledge of history, philosophy, economics, literature, and much more. It is thanks to this strong foundation that our students go on to successfully work in areas ranging from diplomacy, politics, civil service, major corporations ranging from FMCGs to banks to consulting, multilateral agencies such as the World Bank, United Nations, Asian Development Bank, the media, NGOs, education, and so on. We have a thriving set of centers, some of which I mentioned before. Through the Saida Waheed initiative on gender, for example, you can get involved in research and activism on gender issues. Through the Gurmani Center, you can get involved in research and a whole set of events on South Asian languages, literature, and history. The boards of these centers comprise world-class scholars around the world, and both centers provide funding to students to undertake research in these areas. As does the third center in the school, of course, the Mehboob ul Haq Research Center, which I chair along with Dr. Mehboob ul Haq's wife, Mrs. Khadija Haq. Seventh, if you do a good project, a senior project at the end, we will send you on a fully funded 2-month visit to Cambridge, where you can develop your work to publishable quality with the help of Cambridge faculty. In fact, 2 of our students from last year are based in Cambridge right now, where they're doing exactly that. 8th, you have the option of completing a semester at the University of Michigan, should you choose to, where you also get a Michigan transcript. 9th, working with our faculty, you will be involved in national level policy making efforts. Our faculty are advisors to the Prime Minister, to the Chief Minister, and various multilateral agencies. You will get unparalleled exposure to these corridors of power. And finally, you will get an unbeatable education and get to hang out with some of the coolest academics that LUMS has to offer. Thank you.
I welcome you all on this orientation day. School of Science and Engineering is among the newer schools at LUMS. There are 6 departments or programs, 3 in sciences: physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics, computer science, and there is just one engineering program so far, that is electrical engineering. Our first batch of students graduated in 2012, and there has been no looking back since. Our students have performed very well. As statistics, about 50% of students who graduate every year end up in top graduate schools internationally, mostly in the US universities, but also in universities in Australia, UK and Europe. We have regularly been getting about 15 Fulbright scholarships every year within the School of Science and Engineering. Our students have won Commonwealth scholarships, Erasmus Mundus, and so many other funding through competitive process. And you'll find our students in top universities like MIT, Cambridge, Oxford, Purdue, Duke, Georgia Tech. There's a whole list. Similarly, our students have done very well in job placements. You'll find them in top organizations, industries in Pakistan, and also some are working abroad in IT companies and other organizations internationally. The electrical engineering program is accredited by the Pakistan Engineering Council. Last year, we achieved another milestone when we received the Washington Accord accreditation of our program that puts us in just 4 Pakistani universities that have so far received this accreditation. Our lab facilities are among the best in the country that one could expect. Last year we added a scanning electron microscope and there's a 100 teraflops computing cluster that has been added very recently. So our students would be able to work on these facilities and contribute to research. A few months ago, you may have read in the newspapers, we set up a biomechanics lab that was supported by Pakistan Cricket Board. And the team that has just gone to England, so I was looking at the push-ups that they did, but I also thought that, we take some pride because Muhammad Hafiz tried to improve his bowling in our lab. And Saeed Ajmal is also using our lab facilities for this purpose. So currently it is housed in the basement of the SPA SSC building, but we're going to have a permanent structure for this. So we are really kind of engaging with the society. We are trying to contribute from the science and technology point of view. So from today's orientation perspective, what I would like to say is that the science and engineering is not just about sitting in the lab and just spending the entire day in the department. There's a lot more to it, and especially the LUMS experience, what you will gain, specifically when you study at LUMS. First I would say is that, the saying, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. So we don't want the students in science and engineering to be dull. We want them to be competitive and taking up challenges. So our students actually participate and win prizes in national and international competitions, and there are several of those, and projects in different areas. But what we encourage specifically is that our students host and organize a number of leading events in the country. For example, sci-fi, I think many students would be aware of that. Lumen, Startup Weekend, Drama Fest, Sports Fest. Our students take part in all these activities. So what we want our students is that the ultimate success that you can achieve at SPA, SSC and LUM is the fine balance that makes you a well-rounded professional who is aware of the surrounding and the environment and is not afraid to take on any challenge that life throws on their way. The faculty and the staff, we all support students in helping them achieve their goals, whatever they may be. So I would again welcome you all to LUMS and sincerely hope that the next 4 years that you spend at LUMS are indeed the best 4 years of your life. Thank you.
School of Law is the 4th independent school of LUMS. It started in 2004 as Department of Law and Policy within Social Science Department. We offer a 5 years BA LLB degree. Out of those 5 years, first 2 years are about pre-LLB courses. Students can pick courses from social sciences, from business school, from sociology, as well as from law, from other disciplines, even sciences also. The next 3 years are about core courses of law, and we try to teach real expertise in law, and the top jurists like Justice Fazal Karim, Justice Amar Raza, and Justice Ramde, they teach those courses like Evidence Act, like criminal procedure, like civil procedures. First, I want to emphasize that we really focus on practitioners' law, doctrinal law, the actual practice of law. But apart from that, during the next 3 years, our student can pick also elective courses. We offer many elective courses, just like law and economics, which my colleague mentioned, and critical legal studies as well, which means that a critical outlook. I will talk about this in a while. So our main feature is interdisciplinary research, which makes our law college different than other law colleges which are just focusing on practitioners' law as well as doctrinal research. So doctrinal research is reading case law, reading constitution, reading statutes disconnected from state, society, and culture. Whereas interdisciplinary research is about looking at how law operates within society. So that is our focus, that our students should focus on interdisciplinary research. And I really want to thank our social science department as well as business school that they have provided us a very vibrant environment, a research environment where we can focus on interdisciplinary research. Let me give you an example of interdisciplinary research and its increasing importance. Example is, we can take an example of Orange Line metro case. It is pending adjudication and I think its decision is due today and the court is going to deliver its judgment. It is not a case of law about contract enforcement or land acquisition, but it's a case of displacing people. It is a case of particular type of development, a particular type of development model and its impact on environment. It is a question of culture also. It is a question of our history also, because metro line is passing very close to few cultural heritage like Chopurji, Mauj Darya Shrine and Shalamar Garden. So the question involved is a question of not only law, but culture, history, economics, and development theory also. So interestingly, both plaintiff side and defendant side, they requested me to give students to do research. But definitely I provided my students and I advised my students to help those who are being displaced and marginalized and get proper compensation. So the point I'm making is interdisciplinary research is very important, and our distinguishing feature is interdisciplinary research, which makes our law college very different than other law colleges in the country, which are just sometimes producing technicians of law. And the importance of this research and analytical capabilities, or you can say that this critical thinking is increasing in adjudication, litigation, as well as in legislation nowadays. So our students with this ability of research, particularly interdisciplinary research, they are able to secure very good jobs in top law firms, because currently every 3 months or every 6 months the laws are being changed under the thrust of new liberal economic development in Pakistan. The investment regime is continuously changing. So all the lawyers are now to take into account other jurisdictions also where these type of developments have happened. For example, Chinese investment has done a lot in Africa and Latin America. So all these questions will come, and our students with their ability, they are joining the top law firms because they can research from other jurisdictions as well. And particularly I'll give you one example that Supreme Court has created few jobs of court clerkships. So they were particularly created for LUM students, and now with Justice Saqab Nassar, with Justice Khosa, our LUM students are working as clerks, so they are helping those justices of Supreme Court in their research. So this way, in adjudication means judges deciding about the case, and litigation, the importance of interdisciplinary research is increasing, and we are on a cutting edge in this regard. The next is a new area is emerging, which I want to point out. This is about legislation. Before that, legislation was just about the ruling party will pass a legislation and try to bulldoze the opposition. But nowadays, people from the ground, like NGOs and civil society, they are drafting many types of legislation. And on that front also, due to our interdisciplinary research and the support of social science department and this vibrant environment, our students are on the forefront of this type of legislation. I'll give you only 3 examples. For example, current honor killing legislation, domestic violence legislation, and one example is sexual harassment at work. So all these, while drafting legislation, our students were really working with the top civil society organization, NGOs, because they are capable to do this type of research. So the next very important value. So one thing I mentioned, interdisciplinary research is the core value of our teaching. The next very important is critical thinking. So critical thinking is the core value of international scholarship, let alone legal scholarship. So this is really a difficult task for us to train our students with critical thinking. Why? Because our society is full of patriarchy, sometimes feudal values, at the same time we are facing religious extremism, and at the same time lack of democracy and quality of democracy. And we lawyers cannot be silent. We train our students to be critical of whatever around them, and without critical thinking we cannot develop good scholarship. So we are committed with critical thinking, and I myself teach critical legal scholarship. So we train our students to be critical of whatever being written, which Kamal Munir pointed out. We are critical of textbooks, and we teach students very different point of view. Then definitely as a lawyers we are we always carry new core values, new core human values, and a few of those values are gender and environment. Gender and environment is not something away from sciences, from law, from social sciences. It is within all these disciplines. It cannot be taught and learned separately from those disciplines. Building on this very firm grounding of interdisciplinary research and critical thinking, we are in a position to start future projects, and out of those future projects, one is LLM. Right now in Pakistan there is not a single good quality LLM program, so we were very reluctant. Slowly we developed that capacity, and we are starting LLM program. We are starting specialized the centers for specialized areas of law, like cyber crimes, like new regulatory regime, NAPRA, and this media regulatory authorities also. And I think we have discussed so far within our faculty, we have not discussed with social science department. There is a need of joint programs like law and business, and law and society, and law and culture, because sometimes mere LLB degree is not enough, and students can join policy organizations or the policy departments also. So finally, I want to give you a very good news that recently Dr. Martin Lau has joined as a dean of our law school. He is currently a professor of law, professor of South Asian law in SWAS, University of London. And similarly, Maliha Malik, who is professor of law in King's College London, has also joined us as a research professor. So we are going to hire a new faculty, and we are very much optimistic that the next few years of law college are a qualitative change. Thank you very much.
The excitement of the day, I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Yasir Hashmi, and I am the Dean of Student Affairs at LUMS. It's already been a fairly long session for all of you, but I will take 5 minutes to reiterate a lot of what Kamal Saab mentioned in his opening speech, and I'll do it from my perspective as the Dean of Student Affairs. All of you pretty much have spent the past 10 years being first or second in your classroom without necessarily a great deal of effort. This is a reminder that this is going to end at this point for exactly half of you. By definition, an average or a mean is a number. 50% of people are above it, 50% of the people are below it. For a lot of you, there's going to be a rather shocking experience of struggling academically for the first time in your life. And what worked before is not necessarily going to work for half of you. So be prepared to work harder, to work smarter. Second, a lot of people come here planning to pursue one major, be it engineering, be it economics or something else. In LUMS, you will really thrive if you are studying something which is in line with your with your natural aptitude. You may have come here to do engineering, but discover that actually pure physics is where your natural abilities lie. You may come here to do economics, but discover actually that your passion is for history. I am requesting the parents here in particular to be open-minded and to continue to hold conversations with your children. Make sure you know that they are not stuck studying something which they are not feeling comfortable or enjoying doing. Be flexible, because if you're thinking about, what will, बाद में जाके scope क्या होगा, अगर लम्स से आप अच्छी डिग्री लेके निकलेंगे, अच्छे grades होंगे, you will not have a problem in terms of finding a job. वो हो जाता है. That's not something that you need to worry about. What you need to worry about is that the person who is studying here is actually studying something that they're naturally talented at, because that makes life so much easier. And it will make my life easier, because the amount of rona dhona that I have to put up with will be significantly lowered if the parents and the children are holding a conversation, if you have got lines of communication open as to how well the children are. Having said this, let me add something else. You will not do well at anything without working really hard. So what I'm not suggesting at all is कि ज़रा मुश्किल होगी, रगड़ा लगने लगा तो आप भाग के कहीं और चले गए. That will not work. That is not a solution. Whatever you're in, you'll have to work very hard. Unusually hard from what you have been used to in the past 10 years. I'm repeating that again. Third point, welcome to adult life. It comes with lots of freedoms. It also comes with lots of responsibilities. Some very simple responsibilities. मेरे पास बच्चे आते हैं, sir, I can't concentrate, I haven't been able to do this, I haven't been able to do this. And we're talking about it, and I say, what do you eat? Coca-Cola or Moongfali? No. Part of what you'll have to take care of as an adult is your diet, your lifestyle choices. So, Zamal Saab has already pointed out, if you are not being physically active, it will take away from the amount of energy that you have to do other things. And choices and habits that you inculcate at this point in your life will have a major impact 20, 30, 40 years later. It will make a difference to whether you're sort of shuffling along by the time you're 40 or whether you're running along by the time you're 40. Okay. So, parents, again, reminder, when you call up and talk to your kids and ask them how their classes are going, also remember to ask them, did you exercise today? Are you keeping regular hours? Are you eating healthy? Because these are things that your mom has taken care of up to now. It's time to hand over responsibility to you, but there might be some transitional gaps here, and it's a good idea to keep abreast of things. Finally, these 4 years here, you enter as young adults or children, and you will leave as citizens of this country, this region, and the world. And that means you will have to think very deeply, not just about your academics and knowledge of technical subjects, but of the values that you wish to pursue, to hold up for the rest of your life. and to think about the kind of contribution that you can make beyond your narrow expertise in whatever you're training as platforms. So think about how you intend to pay back to society. Think about how you will give more people, more children in the next generation, the educational chance that you yourself are enjoying here at LUMS. You need to think about how you can change the conversation in our society, which makes Pakistan a more comfortable member of the regional and international community. So these are all the bigger questions, but they all start with waking up at 8 o'clock successfully and getting to that class and making sure you're sitting there for the quiz. So these are my 2 pennies worth of experience. I and all the faculty here are here to help you. Approach us. Most of the deans here will be more than happy to have you walk in and talk to them. We have counselors available. We have senior students who have been trained to give you guidance. All of these facilities are available. All you have to do is walk up and ask, and you'll find that people are here and welcoming, and they're there today. Thank you so much. Welcome to LUMS. Welcome to very exciting.